Welcome to Integrity Inspire, your daily dose of inspiration and motivation, featuring the bright and talented members of the Integrity Marketing Group family. Now, here's your host, Integrity co-founder and CEO, Bryan W. Adams.
All right. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us. Today on the Inspire podcast, I am so excited about today. So now, as you've listened over the last few weeks of these podcasts, we have heard from a lot of amazing leaders here at Integrity who have a lot of strong family ties into the insurance business. Today's guest has none of that. In fact, she's a first-generation insurance professional who's made an incredible career for herself by learning the business literally from the ground up. Stacey Anderson is Vice President of Operations and runs American Benefit LLC in La Crosse, Wisconsin. And she's been with the same company her entire 21-year insurance career. After obtaining a license for herself and selling for a time, actually selling in the field, she moved into several administrative functions at American Benefit, and she's worked really as the backbone of that organization for a long time and really has done all the different jobs there, including contract licensing, administration, and even sales. In 2015, when American Benefit joined the Integrity platform, she was a raw talent that we noticed and said, we need to have her be Vice President of Operations and run this organization for us. And she is one of the more remarkable women in the industry that are making huge waves here at Integrity. And I'm so glad that she was able to join us today on the Inspire podcast. Stacey, thank you so much for joining us. It's an honor to have you. We're excited to learn more about your background and where you've been and where we're all going together.
Thank you, Bryan. I'm so honored to just even be asked to be part of this and so humbled and truly blessed to be part of Integrity.
Well, we're blessed because of you. Unlike, as I said, unlike many leaders that we feature here on the podcast, insurance was not in your blood. There's a lot of people that kind of grew up and it was just, that's all they ever knew. But for you, that was not in your blood. In fact, the story of how you got into insurance is really unconventional. Can you kind of tell us a little bit more about your background?
Sure. Like many people on the podcast, like you said, I came from a humble background. I grew up in a river town called Winona, Minnesota, in a proud blue-collar family. When you don't have a lot, you learn to work hard for what you want, and hard work has always been a part of our family for generations. My dad worked in a foundry. Dad would come home every day covered in black sand, black grime. He looked like a coal miner, just to paint the picture. Mom worked in the office at Winona Knitting Mills. My granny and gramps owned and operated a gas station that had their house attached to it. Granny ran the gas station and raised 6 kids, while Gramps worked 7 days a week at Bay State Milling Company. Grandpa used to play these number games with me when I was little, these little quizzes, which was so fun. He would ask, how many pints in a quart, how many quarts in a gallon, how many quarts in a peck, how many pecks in a bushel. And then Mom bought me these math workbooks when I was little, and just with all these math facts and fun things. And so when other little kids were coloring in their coloring books, I was practicing my math facts. Numbers has always been my life. My granny is probably the most influential person in my life. She taught me to fight for opportunities and be a voice for those who can't speak. And as a woman, I've had to fight for everything in my career. And Granny passed on a passion for giving opportunities to others that I hold dear to my heart to this day.
Wow. Well, that legacy has clearly shaped you into the person that you were in. And you've had your fair share of fighting for opportunity in the business, right? I mean, I I remember. Well, let's tell this story first. I've got a couple stories I want to tell, but speaking of fighting, I remember the story about you being. I think y'all were in Vegas, right?
Yep.
Is that right? Or you were at an insurance
Yes.
conference, and
Yes.
and you were at a business conference, and you were at a bar, and there was a guy who was a little too aggressive, and you were like. One of the things I love about you, Stacey, is you don't take crap off anybody. And tell us that story about what happened, if you don't mind. We didn't kind of rehearse this, but it's one of my favorite stories I've ever heard.
Oh, we had gone on this trip to Las Vegas, our office staff, our salespeople, and it was just a great opportunity to get out and communicate, build those relationships. And we just went to have a drink or two, and there was a man that kept touching me inappropriately. And I'm calm. I remain my composure. But what this poor guy didn't know is that my husband is owner of a mixed martial arts training facility, and I had just received in-depth training from a former UFC veteran. I mean, this guy that trained me had fought in the cage on TV. So I warned this guy. I told him, I said, don't touch me. Get away from me. I'm not interested. And he wouldn't stop. And I warned him. And so I stood up. I put him in a chokehold, and he took a little nap real quickly. I didn't hurt him. I knew I didn't hurt him.
So you literally. So this is a story that a lot of women. I mean, in all seriousness, this is a story a lot of women have gone through, where I don't even know how to put it. They've just been taken advantage of or put in a bad position, especially in work environments. And so this was happening to you, and so you literally you warned him. You said, "Listen, don't do that. Stop." And then you literally like put your arm around his neck and choked him out. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, he had no idea what I was doing. I just stood up and I did a little arm sweep across his neck, and I felt his drink hit my feet, so I knew that he was out, and I put him down on the floor, and I sat back down, and and then, his friends were laughing, and, the bouncer came over then, of course, and he woke up within about 10 seconds, but my poor coworkers, I mean, they thought I hurt him, and they were like, oh my God, you killed him. No, he's just taking a little nap.
And you literally sat back down and had your drink. You just knocked this guy out, sat back down, had your drink. I bet he didn't mess with you again.
No, he did not.
I bet he didn't mess with anybody again. That is.
I hope not.
That is awesome. Good for you for standing up for yourself. Well, I remember. So one of the things I remember whenever we partnered with American Benefit back in really 2015 when we partnered with you guys. I'll never forget we were going through diligence process, and we were kind of getting to know each other, and I was up there. Dennis Talshik and I were up there. Dennis Talshik, our chief actuary and chief revenue officer, were up there. We were going through meetings, and I remember walking by your desk, and there was a lot of interesting things going through that time, but I remember seeing on your desk you had 2 reams of paper, just like copy paper, and your monitor was sitting on there. And I just met you, and I said something to the effect of to the former owner. I said, "Hey, why don't why don't you help buy her a monitor stand or something to put, her monitor on, because, she just got that on reams of paper. And I assume you had those reams of paper there for years, right? I mean, it was, probably years. And I remember, the comment was made is, "Oh, she's just my secretary. She'll be fine." And I remember, so my mom really ran my dad's office. My dad was a funeral director, owned his own business, and I remember growing up, somebody made the mistake of calling my mom a secretary, and my mom was way more than a secretary. She ran that business, and my mom and dad are both, just great entrepreneurs. They did a lot of great stuff. However, my mom certainly just an incredible business mind, and I remember my mom taking offense to that term, and I remember that as a kid. And then whenever I heard that, and I remember exactly where I was in your office.
Yep.
And then we went into his office and we were kind of finalizing the deal. And it really stung. Like it really bothered me. Like, when somebody said, she's just a secretary, she'll be fine. Was something that just didn't set right with me. And one of the things that as we were going through that diligence process, Dennis and I, as we were kind of leading that, we were working on that process. We were going through and trying to figure out a lot of different things as we were kind of going through that. And part of that is, who runs this company and kind of what's that look like. And it was clear that you were the one who was running that company. I mean, you had anytime we had a question, we had to go to you. And we would keep coming back and going, okay, hey, let's just talk about, let's talk to Stacey about it. And it was interesting whenever we finalized that transaction. Not too long after that, we were, our role at Integrity, as you know, we don't want to run your business. We want to help support you. We want to support all the different offices. We've got a shared service team that can help support and add a lot of value to people and help take a lot of burden off their plates. Mm-hmm. But we don't want to kind of get in there and run your business. In fact, I remember whenever we partnered with you guys and I was giving our presentation to the employees, I said, you won't see me back up here a lot.
Right.
If I'm up here, there's going to be a problem, right? We want you guys to keep running the business, keep doing that, and there's a lot of things I can look back on in my career and go, those were kind of defining moments, and one of them was with you, Stacey, as we were looking at, who's going to run this business in La Crosse, Wisconsin, and who's going to do this. And the former owner wanted to retire and wanted to leave, which was fine. He deserved it, and he's a great guy, good friend of mine. And we were going through that, and Dennis and I one day were just sitting there talking, and Dennis said, "Well, Stacey runs this business. Like everything goes through her," and I was like, "Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she's doing it. Why don't we just make her the head of the entire business?" So you literally, I remember us meeting with you and talking to you about this, and you were just the secretary, right? I mean, in name, and this proves that titles don't make a leader. Like, even though that was your title, you were doing everything else on top of that. And we honestly, it was the most intuitive decision I think I've made in business. It was the most obvious decision. It was like, well, she's not a secretary. She should be VP of operations and run this business. And we literally said, this is your business to run, and we want to support you in it. And so you went from your secretary to VP of operations and run the business really very quickly. And that's one of the things I don't know if you remember a lot of that, but That was one thing I look back on and just think about just that impact that you had in the business, regardless of your title.
Yeah, the title, I knew the value that I brought to the company, and really, I'm still a relationships manager. My job before Integrity came was I was kind of that liaison between the staff and John, and that bridge, if you will. And once he retired, how I look at myself is to do everything I can to make everybody else the best that they can be. I don't feel like I'm the star of the company. Everybody else is the star. All of our wonderful salespeople and our admin staff, and I mean the longevity that we have with everybody. And I don't feel like the star, and I appreciate and just am so honored of all the kind words you say, but truly everybody else is the star. But one story I do want to share was right around that same time that you're talking, Bryan. Dennis had taken me aside just because there was a couple of things and a couple of comments, and Dennis took me aside and he said, "Stacey, I have your back." And I'll tell you what, I was emotional. I'm still emotional thinking about it because nobody had ever told me they had my back. And that was when I knew what was soon to be Integrity was where I belonged and where we belonged as a company.
Wow. Yeah. Well, we do have your back, and we appreciate you having our back. For too long. I mean, there's been a lot of things that have been said about, insurance is a good old boys network and things of that nature. I mean, and we've heard a lot of stories about that. Karen Fredericks was sharing some stories about that. We've heard of others sharing stories about that. And honestly, we have so many unbelievable women in our business that have been maybe underestimated or undervalued for what they can do. And honestly, those days are over at Integrity. Listen, one of the things about being a market leader is you get to be a leader and you can lead out in front of that. And that's something we've been committed to doing, is making sure that we recognize talent regardless of anything, race, ethnicity, gender, any of those things don't matter to us. It is all about people and how do you help people continue to grow. I mean, even in your old business, even in the business before we partnered, I mean, just some of the culture things that we've tried to change was, there should have been a man in every meeting, especially if it was a meeting that really had a lot of decisions to be made or whatever. And we were like, I remember going, that's the most asinine thing I've ever heard of.
Yeah.
That doesn't even make sense to me. Stacey, whatever you need to do, you're in charge. And we tried to make sure that we set that. And you guys have, I mean, with Ann and Tony and Kathy and Christy and all these amazing people you guys have there, strong women at American Benefit that have just done so many amazing things. Changing that culture. How has that worked for you guys, and how has that helped?
Oh gosh, the feeling of equality amongst everyone, the morale of our office has changed so much in the last 4 or 5 years. There used to be a stigma, and it was actually said to us that the sales folks were the assets and the admin was the liability prior to Integrity. And that has changed. I mean, we are a team. Everybody is just as valuable as the next person. And, you know, you treat, there's a quote out there that you treat the janitor the same way as you would the CEO. And I hold that true to my heart. You know, everybody should be treated equal. I've always believed that. And, you know, that's what I love about integrity is the opportunities that it offers to people who perform regardless of their education, their background, their gender, their race. You know, I'm so blessed to be part of integrity. I would not be where I'm at today. My family would not be where we're at today if it weren't for integrity.
Well, I want to be explicitly clear that we don't believe that salespeople are assets and admin people are liabilities at all here at Integrity. In fact, we're a service company, and at the heart of everything that we do is service. And so everybody is important, and the sales guys can't be successful unless they've got strong administrative teams behind them, and administrative teams can't be successful unless we've got great salespeople doing what they're doing. And listen, I got to tell you, it has been so much fun to watch. And there were some questions that people asked during that time of, and we never listened to them. And people like Dennis Tauschik always had your back of going, you know, has she done that? She's the secretary of the business or executive assistant or whatever. And our deal was, I don't care about the titles. The titles don't matter. This woman runs this business, and we're going to support her and back her. And it's, I mean, literally, that has been something we've been so proud to watch how you've done and how you've continued to grow. But that thought about that everybody's not equal is just not the truth. In fact, it's one of the whole ideas of employee ownership that we've had here at Integrity is that it's not fair for a few people to benefit from the work of many, right? It should be everybody should be benefiting from this. And so that was even part of the kind of heart behind employee ownership is we want to make sure everybody understands that they're important, and we want to even give up. And that's part of what I even told our investors is if you want to be part of us, you got to give up part of your future income or future potential here to give it back to all of our employees, because we can't be successful. No one can be successful without the help of everybody. And so I know I remember coming to your office and I told your office whenever we first partnered, I said, you won't see me back here unless there's something wrong, right? I mean, you guys are going to keep running this. We're going to support you. In fact, I hadn't been to a lot of offices at Integrity because I would just get in the way. I don't like it. They'd be like, "Who is that guy? And why is he here?" And so we've tried to stay out of the way. And I remember coming up to your office whenever we did the employee ownership thing, and people being so like worried, like, "Oh my God, what's about to happen?" Which made me sad. I remember sitting in your office and saying, "Man, this makes me sad. I can't believe that they're worried about that." You guys have done, especially during this time, y'all are seeing record weeks. I mean, y'all are just killing it. But coming to y'all's office whenever we did that employee ownership bill was one of the highlights of my career.
Oh, you know, Bryan, that's one of the most important days of my life, really. It was life-changing, not just for me, but all of our staff to become part owners of Integrity. I mean, the tears and the tears of excitement that day, you know, like you said, everybody was scared. And Dennis kept assuring me, it's all good, it's all good. I didn't even know what was coming. But I just kept assuring everybody it's good. HR is not coming. It'll be fine. And then the van pulls up with all of you, and Sid from HR gets out, and everybody just shot me this look like, Stacey, you lied to us. And I was like, okay, it's fine. We're all good, I promise. But yeah, I mean, it was scary because Bryan said he wasn't coming back unless there was a problem. But you brought life-changing news to all of us. And it just makes me so proud to say that I work for integrity. It makes me proud to wear my integrity backpack when I travel, or my integrity shirt, or my ABL shirt. I mean, I'm proud to be part of the integrity family.
Wow. Well, we're certainly proud to be part of your family and to be your partner in this. I think that we have so many incredible stories here at Integrity, and Stacey, you're one of those incredible stories and I think it's important for anybody who's listening to this, regardless of what your title is, like seriously, regardless of what your title is, if you're a managing partner or president of one of the companies, if you're a janitor or you're in the mail room, like it doesn't matter. Like if you can lead and you continue to do your part, like you can have an influence that's way greater than your title, just as Stacey has done. And she didn't let this title, or she's just the secretary, she'll be fine. She didn't let those comments hold her back. And she ended up rising to the leadership role of just an incredible business that we're partners with. And I got to give American Benefit credit. During this crisis and during just this whole time as you guys worked remote, y'all have shattered records every single week. You just keep shattering records on sales, and it's been just absolutely amazing to watch. And I just got to say, Stacey, we are so proud of you. We're the ones who are honored to be your partner. And I just got to tell you, we're just so thankful that you stuck with it, and just kept your head high, and just even through that adversity, just kept leading, even when you didn't have the title to lead. And so I just want to tell you, thank you for being our partner. I want to say this, like, you've made your granny proud.
Oh.
You're starting to talk about your granny.
Yeah.
You've made your granny proud.
Yeah. Granny was, she just believed in always doing the right thing. And that's a value that I hold dear to my heart. I mean, just always doing the right thing.
Wow. Well, you keep doing it. That's it's part of what that's one of the definitions of integrity. I got to tell you, Jackie Huggins just texted me and she said, "I'm super proud to have Stacey on this call this morning. She is a shining example of what makes integrity great." That is, I mean, those are your partners that are hearing this and listening to you rise up, right? I mean, this being able to rise up through that adversity, and you've just done such an incredible job of that. As you know, respect is also one of our core values here at Integrity, and I don't know anyone who upholds that core value as much and has more commitment to that core value and zeal for that core value than you do. So I want to thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you for continuing to lead from the front and do all the things that you're doing. I'm so great. Stacey, I want you to know how grateful I am, and Dennis is, and the whole team is, that you wouldn't let your background or your title keep you from thriving, and your humility through that man, is just amazing. And speaking on behalf of everyone here at the Integrity family, I'm so glad that you're part of the Integrity family. So thank you so much.
That means the world to me, Bryan. And words like that just fill my heart. And Jackie, Avi reached out to me yesterday. Just such a great team that we have, and just constantly lifting each other up. And so how blessed I am.
Yeah, we are all blessed. And I tell you, we've also had some. We talked about women sharing videos about women who have inspired them, and we got overwhelmed by videos. We got almost 100 videos and video stories about women within our organization, within our industry, talking about how other women have inspired them. You were one of those that posted a video, and I love the fact that we're making changes. Those old days, those ridiculous old days are gone, and we're continuing to move forward. And I want you to hear directly from me is we've all got your back. Everybody on this call has got your back, and we're all rooting for you. So thank you for all that you do.
Thank you, Bryan.
Well, thank you again for joining today's Inspire podcast. Stacey, thanks again. I hope everybody has a really blessed day. Look forward to talking to you guys tomorrow. God bless you.